G'day and welcome to Greg's Trains and my latest N-Scout project. This project has come about due to my current rental state, currently set up in the shed of my rental, and wanted to make a layout that was easily portable, quite simple, just to run a few trains around. The layout itself is about 1200mm by 2300mm. This allows it to sit nicely on the back of my ute, so if I wanted to take it to an exhibition or something like that, I can. My hope for my N-Scout project is to branch away from Santa Fe and Southern Pacific, which is what the vast majority of my collection is, and into New South Wales railways. Having just moved to Tasmania, I'm pretty excited to bring a bit of home with me and by modelling New South Wales. So the layout was originally inspired by Valley Heights station in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, whilst trawling through some ARTC track diagrams. I came across this station with a suburban platform, a number of sidings and a roundhouse. After a bit of googling, I found the Heritage Railway at Valley Heights and thought this would be a nice little thing to model. I can have some main line running as well as a roundhouse for a bit of loco interest and also some operational interest. I started with a sheet of ply, which I then laid out my Cato unit track on and had to play around with some layouts. Cato unit track is ideal for messing around and planning layouts. It's not the most flexible track when it comes to layout plans, but in terms of setting out curves and points, it's very helpful for that. After setting out and deciding on this layout, the original plan was to have the Valley Heights Heritage Railway above this bit of track here. However, I felt like it was going to be a bit cramped and wouldn't really show off the number of tracks that are actually at Valley Heights. I could have gotten some more space if I had not used large radiuses at either ends, but I quite like these Cato large radiuses. This one here has a 480mm outside radius and super elevation as well, which I think would just be nice to have some mainline trains running along that. Another reason for selecting Valley Heights was because although it's unidirectional running for most of the Blue Mountains crossing, there is this small bit of bidirectional track to the west of Valley Heights leading down to Springwood. I imagine this is for the heritage trains to run back and forth. So instead of modelling Valley Heights at this end, I've decided to model Springwood at this end. I have omitted the crossover from Springwood. This is to allow these two tracks to operate as two completely separate loops. This will allow me to run DC on one side and DCC on the other side. This means I can have a variety of stock. I can also allow my son to run some DC trains while I play around with the DCC, or run the whole thing as DC or DCC. The yard underneath is very basic, quite long, which allows me to fit in about 6 full-length coaches plus a locomotive. This will be great for modelling things like the Indian Pacific and the XPT. And I have also 2 stub end yards on this end, which will act as the Valley Heights Railway to run up to the station and back down again. These will be run with a steam loco on one end and a diesel or heritage diesel on the other end, which I imagine is how the Valley Heights run, as this is how a lot of heritage railways heritage railways run to save turning steam locomotives at the other end where there more than likely is not turning facilities. The centre yard will eventually be expanded, possibly have a share track in the middle, but at least another yard on both sides. I'll do this eventually in a flex track to give myself some more freedom. At this stage, I own no New South Wales sets, so 4 sidings will be enough as my collection slowly grows. Speaking of New South Wales sets, another reason for choosing the Blue Mountains line is for the large number of passenger trains that do run through here, from the Sydney suburban electric train sets to the Bathurst Explorer, the Dubbo XPT, and the Indian Pacific across to Perth. The hope is to model each of these, with Precision models coming out recently with their NR class and the announcement of some Indian Pacific wagons coming out soon, along with the recent announcement of the Explorer sets. I'll slowly build up my collection as more stuff comes to market. Construction of the baseboard was very simple, using 40mm by 19mm dressed pine. I simply cut out a slot in all of the lengths, which was then straddled over some longer lengths of the same 40mm by 19mm dressed pine. After I was happy with the layout of the track, I traced around it, again using a jigsaw because I forgot I had my router. I then very roughly cut it out, and using small offcuts of ply have supported the track bed underneath. At this stage, it's quite strong, and I don't think I need any pieces in between, with these spaces being about 400mm. However, if I do find issues, I'll let you know. The scenery will be very basic for this, just generic New South Wales station building there. Some hills covering the entrance and exits, and not much else. I even plan on cutting away a number of members here just to make the whole thing smaller, lighter, and more simplified. Control will be done from this side with a control panel for the Kato switches, and being able to switch between DC and DCC control. I have built this layout as a phase 1 of my New South Wales Railways project. Like I said, currently renting, and I just wanted to get some track out and some trains on, just to get going and keep the interest going in the hobby. It'd also be good to practice a few techniques for scratch building or kit bashing, as well as scenery. The hope is to purchase a house with a large enough room to then properly model some mainline running in New South Wales. I really want to share this layout with you, just to show that even with something small, you can have a bit of fun. So follow along with me as I ever so slowly bring this up to a fully functioning layout, run some trains around, and just enjoy fiddling in the hobby.